Good evening. I'm Carol Daniel, news anchor at News Radio 1120 KMOX in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm so honored to welcome you to the 65th Annual Women of Achievement Awards. Our 2020 annual luncheon, like so many other events around the world, had to be postponed. But our intention to honor 10 extraordinary St. Louis area women for their outstanding and impactful leadership and volunteerism is simply taking on a new form this year and a new location. We thank the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis, our home for decades, for the beautiful luncheon we would have had. Your gracious and superb staff are always in our hearts. And now we thank the fabulous Fox Theater for hosting our rescheduled celebration. We couldn't think of a more beautiful location, historic in its own right, to honor the 2020 class. And our thanks to the Nine Network of Public Media for broadcasting this program. We hope this partnership is the start of a beautiful relationship. To open our celebration this evening, I'm so honored to present Marion Nunn, President of Women of Achievement.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the 65th anniversary of the Women of Achievement celebration. I am Marion Nunn, President and a 2013 Woman of Achievement. We are delighted to share the stories of this year's 10 honorees with you. We're also excited to tell you a little bit about the Women of Achievement organization. You know, we often underestimate the power we have on other people. The smallest things can have a tremendous influence. A smile, a hello, a thank you. As we continue through this program, we hope that you see the power that each of us has, and we hope to inspire you to new purpose. You may have heard the phrase, "If it is to be, it's up to me." Let me suggest changing two of those letters. If it is to be, it is up to us. Audrey Hepburn said it best when she said you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. Our honorees are all very accomplished. In this program, we give it a big heart. During this program, we hope to help you reflect inward so that you can shine outward. Enjoy.
COVID-19 stopped many things, but it can never stop our pride in the outstanding works that women in St. Louis carry out each and every year. This evening, you will hear the stories of 10 women who are living examples of how you can change, save, heal, encourage, feed, house, educate, and touch the lives of others. Our first honoree story is about Susan Balk, joining the Women of Achievement for her work in impactful leadership.
My late husband was a Jewish refugee from Vienna.
At the age of 18, loving his country, loving his city, and left because his life would have ended had he not.
We'd always talk about how hate can take over a continent. But we also talked about how people, like the Catholic family that hid our aunt and uncle for years during the Nazi time, how people manage to interrupt that predictable cycle of hate breeds hate.
He went back 50 years later and took a camera and a notebook and engaged people on the street and asked what they thought about those times. And he wrote them down and he took pictures, and most of them were chilling.
The book, Vienna's Conscience, was published beautifully. In addition to that, it was made an art exhibit at the Holocaust Museum here. At the exhibits, I heard a husband and wife, sort of gabbing. You always want to hear what they're saying. And one of them said to the other, "Oh, those awful Viennese, look how awful the Viennese are."
And she said, "This is more about Viennese. This is about hate."
There's this continuum from bullying all the way to genocide. There's a similar pattern all the way down. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could find people who have experienced acts of hate, either as a perpetrator, as a victim, or as a witness, and who, instead of just being defined by that, did something to fix the world so it was less likely to happen.
She said, "I want to take about 4 or 5 people in the St. Louis area, and I want to do interviews with them, and I'd really like to put on a Hate Breaker Hero event."
Which we call Meet a Hero, Be a Hero. Most of the people didn't see themselves as heroes. I mean, one of them had been a Nazi skinhead. One of them just had the worst childhood. We say, look at what these people have done. And then secretly we say, be inspired.
We honor people, but then also we go on with people. So it doesn't stop. It's like, does one little program, does one little hero, can that really make a difference in this world? It can, because it goes on and on and on. It's been an amazing experience for me.
I think I always wondered why people were mean to each other. And I remember asking my mommy when I was little, how come that person was mean? And the answer was, oh, Susie, don't be so sensitive. And now, you know what? It worked being sensitive. If hate breakers work, that worked too.
Our second story is about Debbie Caplin being honored for her work in pet therapy advocacy.
It all started with my dog Sookie, because I knew how special she was, and I had to share her with other people because I knew she would make a difference in other people's lives. I didn't really know about support dogs at the time. I just looked it up and said, sounds like this is what I need to be doing. So I got involved with Duo Dogs, and I had my first dog certified. Duo Dogs trains, breeds, and donates dogs to individuals with physical disabilities. I love what I do. I love sharing my dogs. I love walking into a hospital and making an impact on other people.
She's incredible. She's the highest paid unpaid staff member we have. She is up there on a daily basis. We are on phone calls. She's invested.
When a patient is in the hospital and they're there all day getting a chemotherapy treatment and they are upset and they're hurting, when one of our dogs comes up, they're so excited to see us. And it makes everything go away, if nothing else, for that short period of time.
They make people smile. They take the horrible news a parent has received. They take away the stress that a hospital worker has encountered in that day. Our volunteers are amazing, and for Debbie to have the initiative and the drive and the desire to make our programs the best that we can be and have our dogs as skilled that they can be, it's a passion. It's not a job.
One day I was at Missouri Baptist Cancer Center. We were finishing our visit. I was with Charlie, and we got a call from the Heart Center that there was an elderly man who was dying. He was all alone, didn't have family, he didn't have friends. The nurses knew how much he loved dogs. And Charlie and I went up there. I was a little nervous. I had never done an end of life. But I walked in the room, and Charlie knew what to do. He walked right up to the man. He put his nose inside of his hand. And this gentleman, for the first time in weeks, opened his eyes, let a big sigh of relief, and he knew Charlie was there, and he did not die alone.
She wants to make a difference, and she will take a phone call at 8 o'clock in the evening, or meet with me on a Saturday or Sunday, or entertain a prospective board member, or recommend a prospective board member. It isn't in a 9-to-5 setting. And she leads her life, I think it's pretty mission-based in terms of the difference she wants to make in the community.
These dogs never surprise me. Their love is unconditional. So I knew that if they can make an impact on my life, they can definitely make an impact on somebody else's life. And the effect that these dogs have is magical.
Women of Achievement is the oldest ongoing awards program in St. Louis, whose sole mission is to honor and recognize the volunteer service and leadership of women. Our history dates back to 1955, when the St. Louis Globe-Democrat newspaper and then publisher Richard Amberg established the program modeled after its Man of the Year award. However, Amberg said when it came time to select an honoree for the inaugural program, there were so many outstanding women, they selected 10 honorees instead of 1. And it's been tradition ever since. Amberg felt the community benefited immeasurably from the leadership of these women, and that the awards program should serve not only as a thank you for their incredible volunteer efforts, but also as an inspiration to others. Initially, honorees were leaders in the business and corporate world, as well as the volunteer community. That has since changed, and each woman of achievement is honored not for her paid professional work, but for her unyielding concern for others as a leader in community service, based solely on her volunteer record of accomplishment. In 1986, after 131 years, the Globe Democrat ceased to exist. With the demise of the paper, KMOX Radio and the Suburban Journal stepped in to become the primary sponsors in 1987. Thomas Rice, president of the Suburban Journals, and Robert Hyland, senior vice president of CBS Radio and general manager of KMOX Radio, became strong advocates for women of achievement. For almost 25 years, candidates were selected annually by an anonymous committee that included distinguished St. Louisans, community leaders, and power brokers, all men. But in 1982, former Women of Achievement honorees Joan Quicksilver and Rosalie Ewing spoke up and became the first women to be included on the selection committee. And thanks to Joan and Rosalie, more women of achievement have been included in the selection process ever since. In 1993, Women of Achievement became a 501c3 not-for-profit and established a board of directors comprised solely of past honorees and took over the nomination and award presentation process. Now, 65 years later, Women of Achievement, along with KMOX, Ladue News, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, community sponsors, and with a very special assist by KETC this year, continue to celebrate and honor the impressive volunteer work of accomplished and diverse women in the St. Louis region.
Our next honoree this evening is Carlene Davis, awarded for lifetime service.
Mother always told me, if you give of yourself, you will receive because people will reciprocate. And pretty much she was right. I basically started volunteering when I was 10 years old, and I've been going at it ever since. So what is that, 77 years?
I met Carlene Davis at Coke Brilliant Presbyterian Church. And so she was recruited then, to be a member of our tutoring program. I mean, when she walks into the room, for me, it just seems like it just kind of lightens up, the room just with her presence.
My daughter called me in 1989. She said, I volunteered you to do something, and you can do it, and you cannot say no. And I told my daughter, I said, Sherry, why would you do that? I don't have time to go to the bathroom leisurely. But she said, Mom, you can do it, and you will do it. So that's how I started with AARP. And it turned out to be a most rewarding experience. And I did it for 17 years.
I think that she is such an advocate, specifically, for kids.
When I was a youngster, I volunteered at the Annie Malone Children's Home. They had come from homes where there was trouble, and they really needed someone to love them. I'm thinking about Travis, and he was one of the most rambunctious little boys. And at first he'd just pull away. Eventually, when I would walk in that door, he would run to me and hug me. So I broke him down in a good way. But he's out now, and I hear from him at Mother's Day. He tells me, he said, Miss Davis, I'd be in jail if it weren't for you. And he says, now, I'm sure glad you came into my life. I was a teacher for 37 and a half years. And unfortunately, I had to take a disability retirement, come out early. I missed the children so much. I live on Maffitt Place, which is maybe 5-6 blocks from Matthew Dickey's Boys Club. And I heard that they had a tutoring program after school. So I called Mr. Matthews and introduced myself and said I'd like to be a tutor. He said, oh, we need you. Come on over.
She could very well just be at home, just resting. But she is still actively involved.
Between OASIS, AERP, my church organizations, joint venture, I stay busy. I think I've received more than I've given, and I've worked very hard to give a lot.
Women of Achievement has enjoyed a wonderful partnership with KMOX Radio for many years. Please welcome Becky Damian, Senior Vice President and Market Manager for Intercom St. Louis and KMOX.
Volunteerism, a word that carries a much more significant and deeper meaning this year than arguably ever before. I am so incredibly honored and proud to continue the 65-year partnership between KMOX and the Women of Achievement. We are two St. Louis institutions that have always had a common goal and mission: to elevate the St. Louis region by positively impacting and serving our community. To the honorees this year, thank you. You have uplifted the spirit of St. Louis by your positive influence and action. Thank you for also continuing to inspire others to not just talk the talk in the area of volunteerism, but to walk the walk. Congratulations to the 2020 Women of Achievement honorees.
Our fourth honoree has done great work in multicultural enrichment. Here is Susan Gobbo's story.
I believe that there is always a reason for things that happen in your life. I came from a little town from Brazil. My husband is also Brazilian. We have a daughter. Her name is Laura. In Brazil, I was the coordinator of the ICU. And suddenly I was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do? My whole life was working in this career. And suddenly I'm at home doing nothing. And I was Dr. Susan, and here I am Mauricio's wife, Laura's mom. So it was hard to manage this situation. So I started studying about cultural shock, expatriation process. If the spouse does not adapt, there is a big chance of this assignment to failure. So I said, okay, so I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create the support for the expat spouses. When they come over here, I will be here to help them to go through this process. I created the International Spouse Group in 2016 with this idea to welcome these international women and embrace them and help them to go through this adaptation process and help them to feel at home. So it was a way for them to come, to meet friends. It's a safe environment.
You know, I first met Susan about 3 years ago. It was at a cocktail party reception that we had in the mayor's office for all of the spouses in her spouses meetup group.
She was there saying, we are happy to have you here. Thank you for coming to the United States. Thank you for choosing St. Louis to live. And for us internationals, that makes a lot of difference.
We are all richer because of our international relationships. It makes St. Louis so much better.
We are helping the companies also, this international business, to bring the attention to, okay, St. Louis is a welcoming city.
Susan has made a huge difference in our community, and honestly, she's one of our best PR people. She shows other people how to love St. Louis.
In Brazil, I used to work as a physical therapist, and my job was helping them to recover from the illness, from the surgeries. And now I'm here and I keep working with people, these international women, but now I'm taking care of their souls. I believe I have to use this gift to help others.
The Women of Achievement have an incredible impact. They are committed to the betterment of the St. Louis region, as demonstrated through the tremendous hours of volunteer service and leadership. These immeasurable acts of service are truly transformational. Our membership does everything from towing a trailer to giving showers to the homeless, to leading large-scale fundraisers, to running a food pantry from their garage.
Each honoree has a story to tell. She may bring dignity and joy to the elderly, champion the arts, fight poverty, or battle crime. She may advocate against domestic violence, develop a community resource, or prevent child abuse. Some women are passionate about finding cures for diseases, while others are motivated to cure social ills. All of them have made a significant impact with their work and are recognized for their passion and their compassion.
It is about helping and giving. Honorees each year represent a cross-section of the geographical, cultural, and religious diversity of our community. We honor them for the indelible impact each has made on the cultural and social landscape of the region.
The Women of Achievement Board of Directors, comprised of past recipients, continues to plan and implement the nomination, selection, and awards process, ensuring that the award will continue to honor the accomplished and diverse women volunteers in the St. Louis region.
We typically celebrate our honorees in a grand luncheon, but this year we are delighted to share our celebration with viewers like you. Thanks to our sponsors and Channel 9, this program will be transformational and powerful. Each honoree has made a unique contribution to the quality of life for those in our region, and the award is a recognition of their above and beyond service to our community.
Volunteers enrich our organizations and make our community a better place to live. The honor bestowed upon them serves as both a thank you for their significant volunteer efforts and as an inspiration to others. Women of Achievement is important to the community because it not only honors 10 women annually, but it also encourages volunteerism.
Our not-for-profit organizations could not survive without the daily dedication and interaction of volunteers. And after watching this program, we hope that you will feel compelled to give your time and expertise to the many great not-for-profit organizations throughout St. Louis.
Our next story is about Jennifer Hillman, who is being honored for her work in creative philanthropy.
So knowing Jennifer for almost 30 years, I know Jennifer fills her soul with meaningful work that changes lives.
I come from a family that passes on the legacy of giving. So for me, it's been passed on.
It's not like she's taken on one cause. She's taken on so many causes that impact people and especially youth.
I have been incredibly fortunate to meet extraordinary people through all of my work, through our work with BJC and Illumination, Wash U, the Brown School, which is just doing extraordinary work.
Another organization Jennifer's involved with is We Schools.
We Schools teaches youth how to do service learning, and it's teaching them how to make a difference in the world.
We Schools had no presence in Missouri, and Jennifer raised over $1 million to launch We Schools in Missouri. The impact on these kids is that they find their voice and they learn how to be change makers and that they can make a difference. Jennifer has also co-chaired the Illumination Gala, and they broke records on fundraising that year.
I don't know that there's anybody that hasn't been touched, especially by cancer. And I think that's one reason why Tom and I have been invested to raise money for cancer research. About 8 years ago, I was really inspired to start a scholarship program for first-generation college students.
And they decided the best way they could help was to provide gap funding, not just for their freshman year, but for all 4 years of college. That's just the start. What she did then was to mentor these kids. She talks to them, she sets them up for workshops, goes through special programs. She's in communication frequently.
They are amazing young people.
She really wants them to know that they matter. So she hosts events in their home, she writes them cards, and they know that she's a phone call away whenever they need her.
I stay in touch with them all year, and I create a relationship.
Right now, she is mentoring 49 students, and they're adding a new class of 10 students this year.
I say that they are more of a gift to us than us being a gift to them. It has filled my soul, And I feel like I am doing something that is very valuable and making a difference in the lives of these young people. And if I can help them in their life, that's what I want to be able to do.
We know that changing the world is easier when you have a strong partner beside you. We have that in the Ladue News. Please welcome the Director of Sales, Andrea Griffith.
Central to our mission at the Ladue News and St. Louis Post-Dispatch are stories. Stories that are a part of us all. It's our job, it's our passion. Each year, it is our honor to partner with Women of Achievement and share the awe-inspiring stories of those whose outstanding service to others makes a difference in our community. On behalf of the Ladue News, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and STL Today, I want to congratulate this year's class of honorees. Truly women of remarkable achievement, whose commitment and dedication to improving the lives of others inspires us all. Their tireless and meaningful work helps enrich lives, empower individuals, and better communities while leading the charge for others looking for ways to contribute. Elizabeth Andrews said it best: volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. We are thankful these honorees have chosen to share their hearts and their passion for helping others in their mission to make St. Louis a better place for all.
Next, we will hear a story about Sue Hockensmith. Women of Achievement honors her work in compassionate welfare.
I found my passion very early in my life, which was children. I went to Northwest Missouri State University, where I met my husband in 1969. We had a little baby boy, beautiful child, but then at 4 months he started having seizures. So we found out later that he was diagnosed with cytomegalovirus. He was mentally and physically very, very challenged. Mayo Clinic told us that he needed so much care, more than we could give him at our home. So we placed him in a home in Sedalia, Missouri, and we missed Philip. He was just too far. He was 4 hours away. So we decided that we needed to bring him closer. And how could he be closer to us in DeSoto and Jefferson County? We wanted a home for him where we would feel comfortable being there to visit, watching his care.
Really, the mission of Sue Hockensmith and her husband Dana was to provide a true family environment for individuals with developmental disabilities. And there were very few agencies that had residential settings that were home-like, that were not an institution. And so Dana and Sue, along with other community members, started Ponybird.
And in June of 1977, we brought Philip from Sedalia, and he was the very first resident there when he was 5.
And that mission has grown from supporting 10 small children to today supporting over 85 individuals. And Sue is really kind of the matriarch of our organization.
After Philip died in 2001, going to Ponybird was very difficult for me because I didn't have him to stand by. But I looked at all the other people and I thought, many of these residents have no family, but I started realizing these people don't have anyone with them either. Every single person there has a story, and every single person there is given the life that they so deserve.
She's one of the first to kind of step up and say, how can I help you, or what can I do to bring something to the table to move this cause forward? Not just with Ponybird, our mission, but she served for many years and continues to be involved with the Parkway School District. She is an alumni of Northwest Missouri State and serves on the alumni board. And I think always bringing the perspective of children and education and making sure that our future generations have the very best that they need to grow in our communities. And so from her variety of working at Lakeside Children's Center to her support on various charities in the community, it really is about the core of our community, which is our kids.
I've always felt that when you visit Ponybird and you see individuals that are so severely affected, it changes your life because it makes us feel so appreciative of our own blessings every day.
The
The future of Women of Achievement is bright and bold and ready for the challenges of a diverse population that has a myriad of talents and yet must meet a host of challenges. As is often said, the future is female. And nowhere is that more evident than by our nominees year after year.
The women we select have outstanding ethics in both work and worth. They've spent lifetimes outside of their careers and families building strategic alliances around that which they are most passionate. Social justice, mental health, youth in need, the arts, and at-risk populations represent just a smattering of the causes our women have championed over the last 65 years.
Moving forward, Women of Achievement will continue to act as leaders and mentors in the community for young women of every socioeconomic class and color, as we continue to be the examples of living lives with a heart of service and the intention of being other-focused.
Our community benefits immeasurably from the service of women volunteers. As we continue to bring light to these women, we encourage others to find a way to give to St. Louis. Often, all a budding volunteer needs is to see it to know she can be it. Women of Achievement bring self-awareness to a community of potential volunteers.
Perhaps the most unique outcome of Women of Achievement is the generational sisterhood that is created between the years of honorees. We serve as a rich network for each other, from the simple and everyday to the serious and more acute. When you first become an honoree, you are both warmed and welcomed into the sisterhood, and a sisterhood it truly is. Women of Achievement are servant leaders and give and lead with kindness. This is such a great example for future generations of women. Women of Achievement are people that help other people simply because it's the right thing to do.
We inspire people, including young people, as we want them to do more. To inspire people, we need to recognize those that do the work. In order to keep the culture of giving alive, we have to honor it.
Each of our 10 honorees this evening have a great future to look forward to in joining the ranks of the Women of Achievement. Sherrill Jackson is being honored tonight for her work in health education.
When you're out there and you are a survivor, people tend to listen to you more. One day, just got up, asked if I could make an announcement, and announced to the church that this was my 5-year mark as far as having breast cancer. That particular day, it was time for me to open my mouth. So as a result of that, any of the ladies that had any kind of issue with their breasts, they would be like, I want to talk to you. Can I talk to you about something? I never in my wildest dreams thought there would be a breakfast club. Women started hearing that we were meeting at different places for breakfast, and they just joined us.
I think the work of the Breakfast Club is critical. They're community advocates to make sure the powers and the structures and the companies partner together to address this reality that many African American women are facing in our city.
We target African American women and their families because of the high disparities that existed. We still keep having, especially African American women, being diagnosed with breast cancer and being late when they're diagnosed. I think all of that drives us as an organization because the majority of us are breast cancer survivors. They use their stories to try to educate, make sure the women have resources, and they know how to access their resources.
I've seen their work in action. I've seen them provide breast kits and breast prostheses. One of the things I really, really love that I've learned about is their buddy program.
Now, the buddies are breast cancer survivors. They will walk with you 9 months through your cancer journey.
The Breakfast Club also have a group of men. These are husbands and spouses and friends and brothers who rally around these women as well.
We have a program that we call Faith on the Move,
which is when the mammogram van shows up at the church and we're able to sign people up. We have several members in our congregation that were alerted because of the work of the Faith on the Move program. And so some of those ladies are here today because of the work of the Breakfast Club.
I want it to still be a breakfast club out here because I know it's needed. So I'd like to be able to bring more and more young people, get them involved, and mentor them. We need some younger people. But as long as there's disparities, as long as that African American women are still dying with breast cancer, we have more work to do. And whatever door needs to be open, open it. You know, sometimes you know what you have, but you don't know what the future holds. And so just be open about it.
Each of our honorees has made an impact. But Toni Renee Jordan is specifically being honored as a change agent. Let's hear her story.
She has taken her life that was in shatters and she's put it back together. And not only did she put her life back together, she's using that to help others put it back together.
I started out using maybe at the age of 12, and it led on to me letting other big drugs into my life at a later age. And I was on a roller coaster ride of my life. And I went down some avenues I never thought I'd go down. It led to prison. It led to just giving up all my integrity, my values, anything I believed in.
She was shoplifting to support her active addiction. Her mom died shortly after she went to prison.
So that was a life-changing, gut-wrenching moment for me. And it was like, yeah, like, you need to get your life in order.
Her mom meant everything to her. She tells the story of being in shackles at her mom's funeral. She thought, I'm not doing right by my mom. And that was the turning point for her.
I just wanted so much more. I wanted a job. I wanted to take care of my family. I wanted to be a person who paid bills.
But she knew she wanted to help people. So she started volunteering. She started volunteering at the treatment place. She got received treatment. She uses her story and then she gives them resources.
You know, I done been there and I knew what it took for me to get to where I am. And if a person is wanting more, then I want to give what I can. They started up a consumer advisory board. And it was on that consumer advisory board that I got on because I wanted everything.
And in fact, she came and she volunteered at my center, the St. Louis Empowerment Center, right at the beginning. She's volunteered for Let's Start, and then a few years back, she won the Mental Health Champion Award for the state of Missouri.
Rosie Anderson Harper, who works at the Department of Mental Health, asked me did I want to get on State Advisory Council. I'm like, you know, I ain't never been to Jeff City, but going on that bus. So now you're telling me I'm coming to Jeff City to sit at this big round table at the Department of Mental Health. How awesome is that, Toni? When I see a person moving on in their recovery, you know, I was there one time and this woman came past me and talking about, you my hope shot. And I just walked out the door. I didn't get a chance to say what I say, what I do. If you want to be somebody, I want to help you to be that somebody, whatever it is. It's real rewarding. I'm telling you, my little heart just be, ooh.
Each year, 10 women are honored by Women of Achievement who demonstrate leadership in volunteer service within the St. Louis metropolitan region. Their contributions go beyond professional responsibilities to help address a need, problem, or issue that improves quality of life for others. We accept nominations each year, and we encourage you to nominate a candidate for next year's awards. We have a very thorough process to select the 10 women that are honored each year. Nominees are women who have an impact on the community through volunteerism, have a commitment to go above and beyond, have served at length in volunteer service, have charisma and motivate others, and act as a catalyst for change. We receive over 100 nominations of incredible women every year, making the selection of just 10 so difficult. Nominations are anonymous and are open now for 2021 through the beginning of January. It is a very democratic process, and nominees are selected on their own merits. There is no outside campaigning. Our committee of judges, made up of past honorees, community leaders, and sponsor representatives, will announce the honorees in March. We want to hear from you about women who are making an impact, so please make your nomination today. And remember, do the thing you think you cannot do.
All of our honorees have made an impact. Susan Katzman's work focuses on women's empowerment. Here's her story.
When we all start out in our journeys, we don't do it with the hope that at the end of the line, I'm going to be recognized for this, so let me be careful how I do things. You don't even think about that. It's really about finding a way to leave the world a little bit better than the way you walked into it.
Susan is the penultimate volunteer, for sure. She gives of her time all over the community, not only to the National Council of Jewish Women, but to Prosperity Connection, the Credit Union, the Collegiate Bioscience and Magnet High School. I know that's been a particular passion of hers, and the National Association of Career Academies.
I mean, when you go into education, you never think you're going to have the chance to build and design a school and the program that goes with it. And for me, so much of my volunteer work really centers on equity, both on the gender side in terms of trying to help young women move forward, and it's also on the racial side.
I know for National Council of Jewish Women, for example, she's been a volunteer for over 30 years, and she helped oversee the establishment of our resale shop and has been actively involved in the operations and the success of the shop, almost double the proceeds of the shop in the last 20 years to support the work of NCJW in the community.
I'm no longer president of National Council of Jewish Women, so that was a quick 2 years that ended with a pandemic. I don't know what kind of message that is, but I have still things to be working on.
One of the things I'd love to share about Susan is her direct involvement in the establishment of a program at NCJW called Kids Community Closet. And Susan helped us pilot this program to bring these closets into 31 schools today to make sure that kids always have what they need. And Susan got it. She understood that there was a need out there, and she helped us figure out a way to meet that need.
The favorite part of doing this work is watching initiatives and programs move forward.
But the other thing that she does extraordinarily well is reach out and mentor younger leaders and younger women in particular in our organization to help them learn and gain the skills that they need so that they can go out and do similar kinds of volunteering, whether it's with NCJW or another organization, their PTO, or anything that they believe in. And she's all about transferring those skills.
The past few years I've had young ladies in particular come directly and say, would you mentor me? Can we meet periodically? And I have been doing that with quite a few people. So that's been, first of all, it makes you feel old and makes you feel good.
In order to be selected as a Woman of Achievement, women must be nominated. Nominations for 2021 are now open and will remain open through mid-January. Submitting a nomination is easy. You can find the form on our website at woastl.org. The nomination form allows 2 pages to document the service of your nominee. When you submit the nomination, include the impact their service has had on individuals or organizations. Try to be specific, including the length of time they have served, the number of people they have touched, and the number of volunteer hours, and of course, the results that were achieved. You can also nominate yourself. One well-written nomination does the job. Multiple nominations for the same person, not necessary. And finally, there are so many deserving women in the St. Louis area region. We want to hear from you, so please consider the women you know who have made a lasting impact and submit your nomination today.
Our last honoree this evening has focused her efforts in the arts and social justice. Here is the story of Joan Lipkin.
Joan is a passionate, creative person with a big heart, very community-minded.
I was an artistic child, and it was just a question of where those impulses would land. And they landed on the theater. And I began as an actress, but I didn't really like the roles that were available to women back then. So I began writing more and directing and producing. And I was going along this path when I had a pivotal moment. I was in Chicago a number of years ago at auditions for one of my plays. We had 75 people show up for 4 roles, and everyone who came in the room was hopeful and excited, and I hated saying no. And I thought that there was something about that. Maybe I could say yes. What if we could cut the cloth to make space for anybody who wanted to participate? And that is when I began to formulate my theory of towards a democracy of art, to make art and art making more accessible to wider populations.
The things that Joan comes up with in her brain, I'm always amazed, and it never stops.
I co-founded the Disability Project with Fran Cohen. We have performed for over 100,000 people. The Disability Project is a performance group of people with and without disabilities to model inclusion, and we create original material about the culture of disability.
She makes sure that she reaches out to a very diverse group of people when she's doing these projects, so it's not pointed to one type of person or one walk of life.
I began to work with various communities, including people with disabilities, LGBTQ, youth, adults and their families, women in recovery, women with breast cancer, college students, communities of faith, immigrants, foster kids, Alzheimer's and early stage dementia, at-risk youth. I'm probably leaving someone out, but it's thrilling.
The arts are, the source of our work together. I think it's realizing how much the arts is important to the community, and she uses those as a vehicle for change within the community.
I'm also creating new projects for more voices.
Right now we're working on our Dance the Vote project, which is about just educating people on voting. It basically is this artistic way you're like, okay, I'm watching this dance piece, and then, oh wait, I'm learning something at the same time. The work that she brings to me and that I collaborate with her on has really changed me as an artist and as a human.
Social justice was served along with dinner when I was growing up. I mean, we talked about what was going on in the world, and we had a sense of responsibility. And here I am. So, this one's for you, Mom.
It is no small undertaking to create a luncheon of this magnitude and to have to shift it when a pandemic happens. Please welcome the 2020 Women of Achievement Luncheon chairperson, Joni Karanjev.
It has been an honor to be part of this historic 65th anniversary of Women of Achievement. We all know that women are powerful. We see opportunities, find solutions, and roll up our sleeves to improve lives and inspire others to act. Such is the case of this year's Women of Achievement, who join our diverse group of women from all walks of life. These women have seen a need, had the vision to address that need, and had the drive, determination, and the heart to help transform our community. The 2020 Women of Achievement personify that leadership is action, not position. Indira Gandhi said, "There are 2 kinds of people, those who do the work and those who take the credit. Try to be in the first group, there's less competition there." I encourage you to be like our Women of Achievement and do the work. It is my honor to present to you the 2020 honorees. Susan Balk, Impactful Leadership. Debbie Caplin, Pet Therapy Advocacy. Carlene Davis, Lifetime of Service. Susan Gobbo, Multicultural Enrichment. Jennifer Hillman, Creative Philanthropy. Sue Hawkinsmith, Compassionate Welfare. Shell Jackson, Health Education. Toni Renee Jordan, Change Agent. Susan Katzman, Women's Empowerment. And Joan Lipkin, Arts and Social Justice. Congratulations.
Thank you all for watching. Like each of you, our lives have changed because of COVID-19, some slightly and others dramatically. Perhaps you saw a story of one of our honorees that sparked something in you, that has moved you to do something more for those in need, or to change something in your community for the better. That's why we presented our honorees to you, to say thank you to them for all they do, and to say to you, your ideas and your energy are needed. We hope you are inspired. On behalf of the Women of Achievement, we're so glad you joined us this evening. It's been a wonderful and informative program. And remember, nominate a deserving woman today. And join us next year. Good night.